his eyes opened to the real world at United Technologies Diesel Systems. With that background, Jim was hired by Oshkosh Truck in 1986 as our branch manager of the East Granby Parts and Service Center. Now, as it was related to me, Jim was interviewed for the position in a motel room by Bud Rupp, VP of Construction Sales, and Bill Neibauer, then Aftermarket Director. Bud was facing a window that overlooked the parking lot, and Jim was seated with his back to the window. Unbeknownst to Jim, there was a couple heatedly making out in a convertible in the parking lot, which was occupying more and more of Bud Rupp's attention as the interview continued. As Jim talked about himself, he got the distinct impression that Bud was not interested in his background or his career path. As it was, Jim got the job based on the couple's performance. Jim had some product issues when we first hired him. We told him to test drive and advance a unit to get a feel for the competition. Jim did just that. Unfortunately, it was an advanced floor sweeper. Jim, however, quickly took control over the East Granby operations, and one of the first moves was to hire legendary service technician Stan Stowski. Stan was somewhat dyslexic. Jim did not notice that Stan had provided his home address on a return address label and a different street address on his application spelled two different ways. Fern, F-E-R-N, and Friend, F-R-E-N. Not good for a guy who had to take parts orders. One of Jim's favorite customers was George Howell from O&G Industries, who dropped one of his trucks off early in 1990 for a transmission shifting problem. After Stan got done working on the truck, he took it for a test drive. Stan only got around the corner from the shop when the branch personnel heard a loud bang. The transmission had locked up, put a hole in the case, almost put Stan through the windshield, and Jim had to have the unit towed back to the shop using his company pickup. After several days of putting George off when he inquired as to the status of his unit, Jim had to come clean and tell George that he had sent the unit to Allison for a new transmission. Similarly, Jim sent Stan and another mechanic, Mark Chica, to Sikorsky Airport to install a drop box in an Oshkosh 8 Series snowblower. Stan called later in the day to report that he had had a slight incident, and the drop box slid forward in the company pickup truck and caused a slight dent. When the truck came back to the branch, the entire back of the cab was pushed in, and the back window was completely smashed. There were conflicting reports as to how fast Stan was driving, why he had made a panic stop, and who had tied down the drop box. Now, the next photo is not for the squeamish, so divert your eyes if you have a weak stomach. The East Granby branch provided this slide, a Stan Stowski moonshot, to attest to the high moral character that Jim's hirings exhibited. Now,
there's a story behind that.
Note that Stan is not only mooning the camera,
Hey Bob, this didn't happen here, but Stan was working up the shop. He had diarrhea, and he come walking up through the office, walking through the office, bent over, holding his ankle, and we said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I don't want this crap to run in my shoes."
Notice the little kid on the left-hand side.
I'd like you to note Now, Stan's not only flashing the camera, but he's also flashing this little kid. We hope this little kid hasn't been scarred for life.
My kid's last name is Don.
It's no wonder that thereafter, Jim washed the company pickup rather than pay to have it washed, as he was trying to cut the already high maintenance costs from catching corporate's attention. Jim has since succeeded in several positions in Oshkosh McNeilus organizations, often taking an active role in promotional activities. Here he is in our service ad campaign, "Go with the pros and not the cons." Jim's attention to detail is unquestionable, and he is a neat freak. Often meticulously administering to the minutest of putting things in their proper place. As a side note, we've been informed that the Jacksonville Department of Public Works recently cited Jim for dumpster diving in the subdivision. Now, Jim has been a company spokesperson, often addressing the media on a variety of safety and social issues. Whether it's calling on potential customers to establish new international markets for our product, or establishing a rapport with manufacturing suppliers and their representatives, and this was at the Brickyard 400. Jim is an active participant.
Yeah, we had to get the Connor out of the garbage with, what was the Cummins girl name?
Now, Jim is no stranger to racing, having raced sprint cars in college. He still likes to take a turn on the track. And we noted that although Jim, being the competitor that he is, boasted that he can blow away the competition, note that there's no one else on the track. Likewise, we had this photo from when Jim got his CDL with the company. Unfortunately, although trying to look the part, he injured himself during the vehicle walk-around. Since then, Jim has taken more safety precautions. Seen here with son Matt rubber rafting on the Colorado. We were glad that Matt was along, as we mistook the character on the left for a crash dummy. At this time, I'd like to introduce Jim's son, Matt. Matt, why don't you stand up? Everybody know you? Thanks.